You know, at this time when you're watching this video, I'm somewhere on a sunny beach in Jamaica, but as of filming this video last night, this was me. I would just like to invite you to my buggy nightmare. So you hear that sound? I hear that sound too. See where the water is? So let me explain to you why this is the most expensive reptile I've ever owned and why Buggy here is finding a new home. This is a yellow belly slider. This animal cost me $0. The enclosure and everything that goes around it, I spent thousands of dollars on because I got this as a pet. Now, you guys might remember this video from 2020. This is a long time ago. My friend Ryan, who's another comedian friend of mine, he gave me these turtles because he was moving. He didn't need them. He had them for 25 years. So believe it or not, Buggy's well over 30 years old. I've been taking care of them. I've really enjoyed them. They're the centerpiece of my living room. But Buggy here decided he was going to rip a hole in the sealant of the corner of the tank, and 75 gallons of water went all through my house. So this will be about my experience a little bit, but also in general why I think turtles kind of suck. And it's been more, well, I mean, I did enjoy having them, but there was so many problems and I am getting rid of them for sure. This is not clickbait, for real. They're available right now, or maybe they're gone by the time you're watching this video, hopefully. Now I will say they're in a 150-gallon aquarium that is secondhand. When I got this enclosure, I think 3 years ago, I did reseal the entire thing, okay? And it's done this 3 times. 3 times this thing has leaked. So basically, Buggy likes to chew on everything, including the fish in the enclosure sometimes, aquarium, I don't know why I call it an enclosure still. Either way, he, at the very beginning, the very first time this ever happened was actually the day of my sister's wedding, okay? I'm in one of these party buses, I'm inaccessible, I'm not available, and I get a call. Hey, the aquarium is leaking into the reptile room downstairs. Because the reptile room, the old one that you can see here in this reptile room tour, is right below this tank. Now I'm not available, and there was a plan in place where we could evacuate most of the water. And the part that he chewed was at the very top of the tank. So really only 20-ish gallons could leak out, right? So it was taken care of pretty easily. Then a second time, this happened again, and it was right in the middle that he chewed this sealant. And then we decided, okay, we're gonna drain the entire tank and we're gonna reseal the entire thing with a very strong aquarium sealant. And still, it worked for about 1.5 years, something like that, no issues. And then last night I woke up at 1:30 in the morning and I heard this weird sound because the stream bar, the spray bar, I guess, of the filtration system is now like a waterfall. So it's not, in the water, it's waterfalling, 13 inches, something like that, down into the water. So I had to evacuate the rest of the water, but the python, which is, if you're an aquarium person, it's basically a long siphon that attaches to one of your sinks, wasn't available for me. I used it to drain the hot tub in October, and I didn't replace it properly, which is my own fault, so it wasn't available for me. I didn't know where the parts are, so now I'm bailing this thing by hand. And to make it worse, Buggy bit the bottom corner, like the very bottom of the aquarium. That's where the leak sprang from. So I have to bail the rest of the 75 or 80 gallons of water because it was about halfway. And I'm just in a daze, I'm barely awake, and I start bailing this stuff. I get all the fish out and everything, and it took me about 2 hours to do this, and it was a nightmare, and I'm done dealing with turtles. So obviously, there's other things about turtles that we're going to get to in 1 minute. But I would say, if you have a big aquarium, whether you own the house like I do or you just rent and maybe you have renter's insurance, but either way, you're ruining somebody else's property if something like this happens, I promise you it's a big mess to clean up. I have to repaint that entire room. I have to replace the carpet in the hallway over here. It's a big mess. It's going to cost me thousands of dollars and lots of time, and it's brutal. So I would recommend that, first of all, get a water sensor. They're not that expensive. You can get them on Amazon, and have an evacuation system plan. My mistake was the python, the big siphon that I use, it wasn't available to me. It's my own fault. Make sure you have an option where if it starts to leak, you have an option to drain it within 10 or 15 minutes. If I had the python, I would have been able to hook it up and it would have been drained in 10 minutes. It probably would have saved me 30-ish gallons of water from being dumped on my hardwood floor, genuine hardwood floor, original with the house in the 1950s, down through the basement into the drywall. So it's my own fault, my own negligence. I'm not blaming anybody but this is how you can possibly save yourself a lot of hassle and money. And before you say, go through insurance, I know that you've never gone through insurance. If you're saying this, your insurance premiums just get jacked up and you eventually pay for it out of pocket. Anyway, insurance is the biggest scam of all scams in the history of scamhood. Now, obviously, this isn't the only reason why turtles suck. I mean, turtles suck for many reasons, and they're awesome too. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed having Mappy and Buggy for a long time. They're easy to feed, easy to take care of. I mean, once you get the water parameters right and you understand how to do it, but they're messy. They stink. And if you don't have the best filtration system, if you're not doing water changes all the time, I promise you, people are not gonna like the way your house smells. When I walked in my friend's Ryan's house, sorry Ryan if you're watching this, love you buddy, but when I walked into this dude's house in 2020, all I could smell was turtles. It smelled like a turtle tank in his living room, and that's what it was. And it was just because this guy doesn't know. He doesn't understand how to, filter the system well, the filter he had was meant for a 20-gallon aquarium, and he had a 50-gallon aquarium, which is obviously too small for these turtles. Probably never did water changes. It just was a mess. It was not set up for turtles. And for turtles, you have to have the best of the best filtration system, either a sump or a Fluval FX6, which is really expensive off the shelf. You also have to be doing water changes. You have to make sure that you have proper setup, and it's expensive and time consuming. It was just way too much work for me, and I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Not to mention, it's not my favorite type of animal. These are animals that you watch and don't touch. They don't like being held. They're gonna scratch you. Buggy does try to bite me every time. They're skittish. They want to be left alone to swim and to bask on their basking platform. They do not want to be held, and that's fine. That's okay. It's just they're really not for me. And water in general takes way more time and effort. Do you understand how ammonia works and nitrates and cycling and the whole thing? The answer is probably no. And for some people, there's aquarium people who love this, but that's not me. I like looking at the aquarium, but I don't have an aquarium keeper, and I'm not hiring someone to do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this enclosure, this tank, 150-gallon glass aquarium into something I like. Maybe I'm gonna do bearded dragons. So in the comment section below, what are your favorite morphs of bearded dragons? Maybe I'll get a bearded dragon for this. Diamond will stay here. Obviously, I don't have Diamond with me because I was handling turtles, but I just don't think that anything else makes sense to me. I'm gonna do an arid setup so that I don't have to worry about water. This thing obviously doesn't hold water very well anymore. So arid setup with play sand and branches and rocks and things like that. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite morph is. I want the coolest looking thing in my living room. What do you think? If you had a 150-gallon aquarium that was gonna be there for everyone to see as soon as they walk in the door in your house, let's suppose there's no budget. I mean, there is. I'm not a rich guy, but for fun, let's assume there's no budget. What would you put in it? Let me know in the comment section below. And formally, I would like to say goodbye to Buggy and Mappy. I got these animals, like I said, in 2020. I've really enjoyed them. They were with their previous owner, Ryan's wife, for 20-something years. So I'm sad to see them go, but also I'm not really sad to see them go. Just because it's a lot of work. It's not really for me. I didn't get that much enjoyment out of them. I don't spend time in my living room anyway because all I do is work, which I love, by the way. I love to work. What I do, I thank you guys so much for watching this. This is what I've always wanted to do. But I'm never in my living room hanging out, right? That's for the other people in the house. But if I set up something cool, maybe it's a different background. Oh, do you guys like the background, by the way? Did you notice how there's reticulated pythons in here? We can do a whole video about that if you want to see it. Anyway, I think it'd be cool to do some filming upstairs and change the background a bit because it kind of got stale the way it was. So let me know in the comment section below all the things that I inquired for you to let me know about. Do you like videos like this? Should I do more or no? Let me know. Please do hit like and subscribe. Really helps the channel. Also, thanks to the Patreon supporters. You guys get videos early, discounts on merch. You guys get one-on-ones. I told you guys in detail about this on Patreon at 2:30 or 3 in the morning or whenever I got done bailing it out. And that's it. I do videos on Mondays and Thursdays. That means I'll see you in the next one.